What's going on YouTube? My name is Zach with Android Digest, and today I want to revisit one of my favorite phones of 2021, and I want to revisit the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 3. After all, we're hearing a lot of rumors about the Z Fold 4, and you might be wondering if the Z Fold 3 is still worth purchasing. So I wanted to give you my thoughts on this phone and let you know what I think about it. So with all that being said, let's get straight into it, and let's talk about the Z Fold 3. So the Z Fold 3, I think it's a very interesting phone. And if you're one of those people out there who's watching this, you probably know a lot about this phone already. You have an outer display right here, and when you want a big display, you actually open it up, and looky there, you have a full 7.6 inch screen. But if you don't want to use this big tablet-like screen, you could close it up and then you have this screen on the outside. So this is a very unique foldable phone. Now I have to say, a lot of people have been scared over foldable phones for a couple reasons. First off, a lot of people are scared because of the price. This phone did retail for $1,800, but I need to reset your expectations here because I know the retail price is a little bit high. But if you look at the price of this phone on the used market, man, you could get this phone in mint condition. You could get this phone in great condition for like $800 right now. In fact, I found this phone on eBay, locked to Verizon, for like $700. So there are a lot of good deals on this phone on the used market. But even if you don't want a used phone, there are still a lot of great deals through carriers. So this phone may be worth purchasing, not just because it's cool or because it's crazy, but you might actually find some good deals on this phone. And it's crazy to think that a foldable phone could actually be a good value. Now, if we look at the other thing, durability. One reason why this phone does go down in price on the used market is because some people are afraid that it's going to break. The Z Folds, of course, we've seen people post on Reddit and other websites because right here down the middle of the screen, right, you have this because, of course, you have a hinge. You're folding your screen in half. So you're going to have to run your finger across this over and over. And people have seen their screens crack right down the middle. We've seen a few reports of that, again, at places like Reddit or on social media. But I've got to say, a lot of durability concerns are a little bit overblown. You can buy a case for this phone, of course, and the case is going to work just fine. This phone does come with a screen protector. Now, Samsung does recommend you never take this screen protector off. And you know what? I would agree. If you just keep your phone in good shape, if you just clean off dust does build up every so once in a while around your screen protector. If you just clean this phone every once in a while, put a case on it, I don't think your average person is going to break this phone. In fact, I do think it would take a while, it would take years for the hinge to wear down, and I don't think your average person has to worry about that, especially if you get a new phone every 2 or 3 years. So if you're someone out there who wants a good value, you could actually get a foldable phone, and it has a small phone when you want it, and a tablet when you want a larger phone. And surprisingly, if you find it for a good deal, it may actually be cheaper to get one phone to be a phone and a tablet. Maybe cheaper to do that than actually buying a phone and a tablet separately, especially, again, if you could find this for a really good price. Now, I am very impressed with the Z Fold 3 because if you look at the specs of this device, this has a 2208 by 1768 resolution. Of course, when you open up this phone, it's a 7.6 inch screen, so it's a nice little tablet when you need it. Now, if you do look at this outside screen, it is a 6.2 inch screen. I do think that is big enough for most people. Some people might prefer it to be a little bit wider rather than taller, but I do think that it is big enough for your average stuff. And it is a 2268 by 832 resolution on it. Again, a nice resolution on this screen, a nice resolution on the inner screen. It's beautiful. It's a nice OLED display, and you get 120 hertz, whether it's on the inside or the outside screen. So this phone, in a weird way, you get two screens really put together here on the inside into one beautiful screen, and right here on the outside you get a screen as well. And doing it this way, having this outer display, it allows you to be able to take pictures here without having to open up the phone, and it allows you to take pictures when the phone is opened up as well. So overall, the display is great on this phone. Again, you're going to get a flagship quality display with a a lot of brightness. The screen is very, very bright on this phone, and the performance is of course flagship level as well. You're going to get 12 gigabytes of RAM and a Snapdragon 888. Top tier Android performance on this phone. 120 Hertz makes everything just flow when you're scrolling, whenever you're on the outside screen. I do think that it's a little bit small. The keyboard is going to be a little small on it, but honestly, it's not too bad. Now, the downsides, again, is just going to be this middle part of the screen. Because it is foldable, you're going to have the hinge that's right there down the middle, and you are going to have to rub across the middle of the screen and feel that. Outside of that, you're going to know one other thing is that when you're using it in phone mode, it's going to be a little bit heavier than your average phone. And the reason for that, of course, is because you are carrying around a 7.6 inch screen, and you're carrying it even though you're only using a 6.2 inch screen. So that's going to be a minor annoyance for some people. And if that's a big deal breaker, look, just buy a great phone and a great tablet and move on. But it's really, really nice that you won't have to worry about carrying around or lugging around a tablet. If you really need a nice big screen, it's a big deal to have this phone. Watching YouTube is great. If you want to set this up on a desk, maybe you're taking photos, you could set it up like its own little tripod. That's a great thing. So there's a lot of utility to a phone like this that other phones just don't have. Now, I will say this phone is tremendous with multitasking. If you go to open up different apps, you can't open up 2 or even 3 apps at the same time, and it really separates them with a little bar in the software, and you can move that up or down so that you can control how big these different apps are on your screen. So this phone is great for doing 2 things at once. I definitely think it's good for that. I will say I think the Surface Duo 2 is a little bit better at multitasking because it's similar to having 2 computer monitors while you're working on a desktop. So if you look at the battery life of this phone, it does have a pretty large battery. It's a 4400 milliamp battery. The only problem is that it's powering such a large phone. This does have a 7.6 inch screen that's really going to suck out a lot of battery as you're using it, of course, to power that large screen. So you're going to end up with average battery life. I was getting around 4 to 6 hours of screen on time. So the battery life is good, but it's not great. It's good for a moderate user, but if you are a heavy user, the battery life won't be too good. The cameras are good, not great. I would say they're a step below flagship level. If you look at something like the S22 Ultra, that phone has a 100 times zoom. This phone will not have that. It won't be quite as good, and the details won't be quite as good as the S22 Ultra. But on the other end, the cameras are still very, very good. I would say they're going to be similar to something like a OnePlus 9 or something. They're going to be very good, but just under that flagship level. So the cameras are great. The video, as far as the cameras, that is also very, very good as well. I love how Samsung does have a pro mode, which is great for video creators like me. So overall, I do think that the cameras are good. The battery life is average or good, but the flagship performance and the display, those things are tremendous. But the big reason why you get this phone is, again, for the utility. If you're someone who wants to have a small phone, you just need to check text messages off and on, you get a small phone. But if you're someone who wants a tablet, but you don't want to lug one around everywhere, this is a really big deal, right? Because when I go to the couch, I don't always want to have to go grab a tablet. Sometimes I just want to open up my phone and have a nice big screen. A lot of times we use our phone because we're lazy. We don't want to have to grab a laptop. We don't want to have to grab another device. So to have this device be a phone and a tablet in one, it's a really, really big deal. And I love, again, the utility with having this secondary display. I love the utility with having a nice foldable phone. Maybe you're doing a live stream or something for YouTube. You could set this phone on a desk. You don't have to worry about it, right? You don't have to worry about holding it or having a kickstand or a pop socket. So there's a lot to like about this foldable phone. And if you're wondering if you should consider it, I would say, again, it depends. If you're okay with this, having to rub your finger over this little part of the hinge all the time, I'd say that part of the screen is a little bit annoying. But if that doesn't bother you, a foldable phone might be for you. If you're okay with average battery life, if you're okay with getting through the day just barely, this does have, again, about 4 to 6 hours of screen on time. So if you're a moderate user, the battery life thing won't bother you a ton. Again, this is the phone for you. If you don't mind this outer screen being a little bit smaller, again, these are the cons of this phone. If you could deal with those cons and you're someone who really wants a phone that is a nice nice little small phone, but then a tablet. If that intrigues you, if that interests you, and if you find this phone for a good price. Again, if you find this phone on the used market in excellent condition, and if you find this phone with your carrier and you get a great deal with your carrier, then this phone can be a great value proposition because you won't have to buy a tablet and a phone. You could get one phone that does both, and you could get it for a reasonable price. So there's a lot to like about foldable phones. They are still very durable. This phone is water resistant, by the way. You still get all of these extra features like wireless charging, for example. The speakers are very good. You get a fingerprint sensor right here on the outside of the phone. So there's so much to like about this phone. You just have to be someone that's willing to deal with the compromises in exchange for the utility. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. If you want to support my channel, feel free to give me a like on this video. Leave a comment down below if you have any questions, and you could also subscribe to my channel. That would definitely help me out quite a bit. And if you use affiliate links in my description, even if it's not to purchase this phone or something else, you could purchase something random, but if you use those links, that does help to support my channel, and it does mean a lot to me as a smaller creator. Finally, I do cover a lot of Samsung devices. I cover a lot of Samsung tablets and a lot of Android tablets and Chrome OS tablets. So if you are interested in any of that stuff, feel free to check out some other videos, and I hope you have a great day, and I hope you have a great week.